Before we start this episode of Krypton Report, I want to take a moment and just give a shout out here to our Patreon. I know what you're thinking. Gosh, everyone's asking for money, and I get it. But our Patreon is only $1. $1 a month that helps us keep the podcast going. And what we do is we try to find interesting shows and topics and whatever we want to talk about. We've done, as of this little thing, our last recordings were on the Scream series. Brian and Tyler, that's me, do our own show where we record in the car, and it's kind of funny. And we talk about pop culture or whatever is going on. We also have the Supernatural podcast we've been reworking. It's taken some time just because of life. But we do movie commentaries as well. It's something that James and I have done, what we used to do on the main show that we've started doing here. So for $1 a month on our Patreon, you can get those shows. There's at least 4 a month. Also, there's my movie pitch show that I do. But also, what we want is if you're a Patreon, you can come on. You can come on the main show if you want. Or if there's something you want to come on and talk about, we can do it as a Patreon special. So all I want is for $1 a month, think about chipping in, joining our Patreon, and you have a voice to be part of things. Follow the link in the link tree or in the show notes below, patreon.com/KryptonReport.
Part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
Look up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane.
This is Jason J. Lewis, the voice of Superman on Justice League Action. This is Mark Wade, writer of Superman Birthright. You're listening to the Krypton Report.
We are on location in Grove City Brewing Company here in Grove City, Ohio, where I'm sitting down for a lovely meal with the owner, host of the Chase Smith podcast, the network president himself, Mr. Chase Smith. What's up, man?
What's up, JTP? How you doing, bro?
Good. This was a nice outing that we have, and we thought it'd be kind of fun to record a little something here because much like the conversations that I have with Brian, it's like every time you and I talk, it's always a good conversation.
Always incredible. We always end up talking about Batman, movies, comics, family, faith, all types of stuff, man. So
all rolled into one giant. I mean, you can just mic us constantly. You know they do reality TV shows. It's like reality podcasts. It's constantly mic'd. Yeah, and 24 hours a day.
We also always end up talking about our time at the 612 at Rennick, one of the Rennick 5, and I just imagine if there was, like, that was very much a reality TV experience, I felt like. People coming in and out, everyone having their own thing.
We didn't record enough. I told the story the other night to my kids when they were wanting to get into Nerf guns, and someone was asking me about BB guns.
When you got shot with that airsoft gun?
I told them about that, and I told them about how, what's his face? Why is his name leaving me? Laid in his floor and waited for you to come out to go to the bathroom, and he shot you. Yeah, in the middle of the night as you were trying to go to the bathroom with an airsoft.
Yeah, we won't say his name.
How was everything today?
It was delicious. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Yeah.
But can you believe it has been 14 years? 15?
It's crazy. Thank you.
Do you need a copy of your receipt?
No, I don't. All right, thank you.
You guys have a great day.
You too.
Thank you. It's great.
But, 14 years since we lived together.
It's wild, man.
You have a beard now.
I can grow facial hair now. It didn't happen until I was like 26. And I don't even know if it's facial hair. It's just like there. Finally became a man. A beard makes you a man, right? That's what it is? It's a beard?
Yeah.
All right.
And other than that, you're pretty much the same guy. Look like you haven't aged. My hair is now mostly gray. It's like it's brownish gray because I finally stopped dyeing it.
Yeah.
So
once a year, we should just get all the guys together and live a weekend together just to recapture that magic.
Just to see how it is and to see. It's like an escape from our wives. But then we just go back to our wives like, I love living with you.
No, man, it was a great time. That was a decade and a half ago, man, and a lot's changed. But I'm glad that our relationship has stayed the same, man.
I know, like, it's awesome we're still friends. Like, it's just one of those things, like, I mean, it'll be, so here in June, it'll be 10 years since I moved to North Carolina, when you were living in North Carolina.
Yep.
And I love North Carolina. I like living here sometimes, but North Carolina was beautiful.
Yeah, there are beautiful parts of North Carolina. We were, that season of our life happened, and we were grateful for that time. We feel that way about Chicago. Like, I think, like, we love Chicago, and we love the people of Chicago. We love the people of North Carolina too. But it just, Chicago was great, man. But we're happy to be here in Columbus.
Like you said, living a season of your life. Because I think about this too, is like, part of me, I want to live somewhere else. But then I'm like, I like where I live now because it's safe for my kids. They get to have a good childhood and be safe.
Man, we felt safe in Chicago. We never felt in danger once, man. I was in the city once a week. But yeah, no, I hear you.
Would you want your kids riding their bikes outside?
Of Chicago? Yeah, we'd have been fine with that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Never been to Chicago, so I'm just like...
Right, you're just based off what you see headlines and
people
other,
people I've heard who live there and visit there and talk about it.
Gotcha.
Chase only moved there because he wasn't sure that... He didn't know that Chicago and Gotham City were two different places. He just saw The Dark Knight and was like, I'm going there.
I've got to go to there. No.
He got there and he's like...
It was great. We'd still be there, man. I was at a small church, like 80 people, and...
That's nice, though. That's
when you're not the lead pastor and they run low on funds.
Yeah.
Before they cut the lights out and cut the lead pastor's job, they're like, hey, so let's talk about that. So
you're a pastor
yeah,
also? We're gonna, yeah. But small churches can be nice when you have the ability to get to know the people that you're around.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't think we're here to talk about small church, Ty.
No, we can. It's whatever. We just had a delicious meal.
It's very good.
And but one thing we has always solidified our relationship and our friendship, even before we lived together, was the character of Batman.
That's right.
We've told the story before we don't have to keep repeating, but I still love when I was ordering my new McFarlane Dark Knight line. Yeah. I just remembered us running through this Walmart looking for the Batman Dark Knight toys that they had yet to release.
Dude, that was such a fun time, man.
It was exciting.
The marketing campaign behind the Dark Knight was incredible. They did a lot of just like guerrilla marketing and like internet marketing, and they had a word for it then that I can't remember now. But it was very much like this is really happening. You can go and hear about Harvey Dent's rise to how he earned the nickname the White Knight. There's a throwaway line in the Dark Knight where Jim Gordon's like, "You're Gotham's White Knight," which,
Harvey, you get that. What? But they had a different name for him down in Internal Affairs.
Right, Harvey. Yeah. So like that's all. There's a backstory to all those lines. It wasn't just like a random like nickname. Like that was a nickname he earned for some act, and I forget even what the deed was that he did, but it was very heroic and valiant. And like the threat of the Joker was kind of already there. The fake Scarecrow people, the fake the Batman, like the fake Batman people that are I'm in hockey pads or whatever. Like those people, like it's a whole faction of Batman people that you could have actually joined. Like it was this really fun.
It was exciting because I remember you and I would be in the dorm room and you were doing like it wasn't trivia, but it was like certain details and clues you would piece together. Yeah. And it would start to reveal like an image to release of the Joker that was more than just that shadowy teased face. Right. It was so exciting. Yeah. And they just haven't done anything like that.
They explained how he stole the school bus for the bank robbing scene. It was just fun. I lost my voice on Sunday after church, so this is the best I've sounded, but I feel like I can do it really good.
I was going to say, Batman. That's just because you've just been doing your Batman voice so much. Yeah. Not enough, green tea, honey, and lemon juice.
No. But then when the Batman came out, Ty, this again kind of just continued our love for Batman. About a year ago, it was a very big movie in our Batman life came out.
And so we've just sat down like, okay, we're going to hang out. It's been a year. Chase is a very intelligent movie person. I don't say that to...
I don't agree, but I thank you.
But I say that in the sense, like, you can say, hey, man, what do you want to see in a sequel? And they'll just say, like, 1 or 2 points, but Chase can actually, form a coherent story and thought. We talked about before when we pitched each other ideas and we continued the Dark Knight series.
Right.
So my thought is, all we know is that Matt Reeves right now is gearing up to start shooting the Batman Part 2. Uh-huh. And we know they just started shooting the Penguin series.
Right. Which HBO won't confirm that Robert Pattinson's Batman will or will not be in the sequel, he's going to be in the Penguin.
Well,
That's going to happen.
I read something interesting that I haven't dug into enough, but it was some sort of contract, something with the rights that he may not be able to appear as Batman, but he could appear as Bruce Wayne.
I saw that. That was debunked by James Gunn on Twitter yesterday.
Okay, cool.
Just yesterday.
I have not been on Twitter too much.
Yeah, because he just replied, not true.
And
that's all he did.
And that is one thing I have loved about James Gunn taking over.
Yeah.
Is he is so much of the crap that we have went through as DC fans of rumor this, rumor that. He gets on there and he'll flat out be like, no. So then, of course, Robert Pattinson as Batman will be there.
Yeah. Christina Milioti, I think is how you pronounce it. She's signed on as Sophia Falcone, which is Falcone's daughter. She wasn't in the Batman, but she's signed on to play Sophia, which is a huge character from the Long Halloween comic, graphic novel. One of our sentimental favorite. It also connects us on a deeper level. And so I think it's going to be great. Colin Farrell's Penguin was incredible. It was, he dominated every scene he was in. And he was one of the best parts of the Batman. And so I'm pumped to see that. I'm pumped to get more into the Gotham City Police Department. And Batman is going to be, it's going to be in it.
Oh, I don't expect him to be huge, but I'm at least an episode or something is like a scene. Like I don't expect him to be.
It's going to be like
focus.
Boba Fett in The Mandalorian. Like you're going to have, like the Book of Boba Fett was about Boba Fett, but then there were like 2 episodes where it was just like, no, we're going to shoehorn in 2 episodes of The Mandalorian and just not even thinking about Boba Fett. I bet we get maybe if not an entire Bruce Wayne backstory more. I just think it's going to happen. How can you not? It would be dumb not to have his Batman in.
And I like. We're also getting Clancy Brown as Maroni.
Okay.
So there's another one of just and I have a feeling by the end of the Penguin series there will be no more Maroni or Falcone family, as the Penguin will make sure that he is in charge. This is his his rise to power. So I'm excited about that but you know what I've realized, like we were talking before we started to record, maybe we shouldn't have, but we did anyways, is I've watched the Batman about 4 times.
Yeah.
And I feel like each time I watch it, I have a greater appreciation for what they did. It's not my favorite. There's a few things I wish had been done differently, but I respect what they were doing. And as serious and dark and gritty it is, there's also this weird, playful tone where it feels almost too gritty.
Yeah.
Where, like, The Dark Knight, I felt like, is you and I could go outside right now and film something, and it would fit that tone. But the Batman is so dark and gritty and noir that I feel like it's almost like you could do some of these crazier villains. Like, I know people keep saying they want to see Mr. Freeze. And
we're talking sequel.
And I'm like, I could see that.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
So I think one of the things we mentioned, the cinematography of the Batman is incredible.
And got snubbed at the Oscars for not being nominated.
It's shocking that it wasn't nominated, but I appreciate it more just with pictures rather than appreciating it in the moment. Like when you see these stills of Batman leading them through a flooded Madison Square Garden with a light, or him and Selena Kyle on a rooftop, or whatever else, like you're like, wow, like that does look really, really cool. But in the moment, I feel like it tried really, really, really too hard. And one of the experiences, the second time I had watching it was I watched it with Leslie, who fell asleep. But where she fell asleep and where we stopped it conveniently broke up the movie into like 4 or 5 40, 50-minute segments, which, I mean, Ty, to be honest, was incredible because it took us through about the first victim right before, right where the politician was kidnapped. So you don't really see like the whole like courtroom chapel scene when his head explodes and Batman gets knocked out. But it kind of made like these 40, 50-minute episodes kind of a lot like what prestige TV is right now, like The Last of Us that HBO does, like all these shows. And it was I kind of enjoyed it because I found myself looking forward to, I can't wait for the the Batmobile chase scene. I can't wait for Alfred's gonna also explode or whatever, and like it just created these really fun moments where they were like, in my experience, it broke it down so it wasn't this 3-hour long like marathon, and it was interesting. I appreciated it. The more I look back on it, the more I appreciate it. In the moment, it was hard to like, for some reason. I don't know why it was so hard for me to enjoy it the first time.
I'll tell you why. Like, because it was different. Much like when I first saw Batman Begins, I liked it, but I didn't love it. I was like, oh, okay. This is different. It's not kind of what you... And then when it came out, I bought it. I watched it again. And then since then, like, it's my favorite Batman movie.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it's not the best movie.
Right.
But it's my favorite Batman movie. Yeah. And I think it just grew on me because you understood the film and you kind of saw where they were. We're like, we're going to do something different.
Yeah.
And that's why I think, the Batman, it's got a few flaws to it as far as like storytelling and plot, but
I think one of the reasons why I didn't like it was, and I know Robert Pattinson hasn't fully developed the Bruce Wayne character yet.
Agreed.
But I wanted to see more of a change in like movie character, not his person, but like I didn't want to see a dark and emotional and a like brooding Bruce Wayne. I wanted to see the playboy philanthropist who is comfortable in that world, and then like if I would have seen Bruce Wayne, like you could pretty easily say, wait, all right, what's this guy doing? Is he okay? Does he need help? Which leads me to the sequel.
Let's do it. What is your thoughts and pitches for a sequel?
I think we're going to be introduced to a mental health counselor or therapist for Bruce Wayne. I think it's going to be Hugo Strange.
Always back to that. We got the that is us right there.
But I think with not only where everyone is today with the emphasis on mental health, I just think with what we saw where Bruce Wayne was in the Batman, I think it would make sense. And maybe he's not the villain. Maybe he's just introduced as Hugo Strange.
I totally think he's having him there as that seeding characters and building the world.
Yeah.
Where he doesn't have to be the main villain. He can just exist.
3-4 films from now, I think would be an awesome like turn and would crush Batman.
Because he would be building the psychological profile. He would piece it together and then have the way to attack Batman in a way that no other character ever has.
Right. So again, that wouldn't be the plot. I think that would just be a point of the sequel. I think the mayor is going to play a big part. And I don't know how or what they're going to do with her. She was shot. But she seems pretty bold, and I think she's going to be, I don't know if it's like a love interest with Bruce Wayne. I'm not sure what they're going to do with her, but I think she's going to have a major role moving forward. I think we're going to see him, go back to Wayne Manor and, brick by brick or whatever they say, because it was burned down, right? It was like, it's just like vacant.
It's vacant and it's now just a drug den. So I definitely see a plot thread of him reestablishing Wayne Manor and doing something with it. Maybe reestablishing the school or the home.
And maybe that is done through a book or a novel, kind of like they did with this movie, like the prequel novel.
Did you read it?
I did. It was great.
Too.
Yeah, it was fun. It talked about how he kind of made his suit and made the Batmobile and did street races. And
have you read any of the Paul Dano written Riddler Year One story?
No.
Really
Is it a book or a graphic novel?
It's a ongoing like bi-monthly series.
Yeah,
it's 2 issues in, and I will say like it's really good. Like sometimes you read like movie tie-in comics and it's like this really helps you understand this character.
So this is canon for the Batman, and it takes place before the events of the Batman. Okay, all right. Which he's in the novel as well.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, so. Yeah, but again, I still don't know if that's like the main like plot theme. I do think we will see Kerrigan's Joker. I don't think he'll be. I still think he'll be in Arkham.
I agree.
I don't think they'll break him out yet. I think they're going to be establishing a lot of these rogues that we all come to know. I don't think we'll see Catwoman in the sequel. I think she will come back.
I agree.
I don't think in this one. And so all of a sudden you start to see like. And maybe it's a Harvey Dent. I
want my like adding to what you're saying because I'm agreeing with what you're saying. I want Harvey Dent to show up in this movie, but I don't want Two-Face.
Yeah.
Two-Face is my favorite Batman villain.
Yeah.
But I'm saying you have Harvey Dent show up and just be Harvey Dent with no rush. Like, build this world. You know, you've planted seeds in this. You know, I think the Dark Knight trilogy is kind of like the Star Wars trilogy, where they plotted and planned so perfectly on how to evolve the story that you can't help but see parallels if you're going to do it again.
Yeah. And maybe we're overthinking it. Maybe the Penguin is the big bad for number 2. Like, he wasn't really much of a...
I mean...
but especially if they're making this prequel show where he is, like, going to be, like, showing how dangerous and how powerful he is, why not make, like, this...
I like the idea that Penguin is that he's that crime boss, but he's just kind of out of reach.
Yeah.
But I like the idea, like, with this sequel, it's the rise of the supervillain. It's always great to flesh out the mob and then bring in the supervillains. And as far as main antagonist, part of me, I say this, but I'm also afraid, pun intended, of what Matt Reeves would do if he had the Scarecrow.
Yeah.
Because he already made things dark. And I mean, his Joker look was teased. He looked like he just fell in acid. And I hope, like, he heals up some, because I really don't want grotesque Joker.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's too Heath Ledger-y. Is that a word? But what I'm thinking is, I would love to see the Scarecrow as the main antagonist.
Interesting.
A lot of people are gunning for a Mr. Freeze, but you know, I can see that. I could see Matt Reeves making that work.
Mr. Freeze, that'd be awesome. That'd be dope. I'd be down for that.
It would be just so different. It'd be redeeming Mr. Freeze. But what I could see is the Batman Part 3, because Matt Reeves has expressed his idea to do a trilogy, being almost a similar vibe to... He's a huge fan of Batman 66 and Batman the movie, where he's built his rogues gallery.
Yeah. And then they come together.
And they're all together in the last movie. Like, I want to see Paul Dano back as Riddler in Arkham in the second one. Like, I want a shot of, like, in Arkham, we see, you know, Paul Dano's the Riddler, we see the Joker, and you have this kind of fire building that either at the end of the film they break out or the next movie. I think the end of the film breakout would be the best, and then you start the next movie as, like,
dude,
all of them are out and
you know what would be really cool?
Together.
We haven't seen like a Clayface antagonist where this person's disfigured and he uses makeup to like change his appearance, and all of a sudden he's out in the public as someone else, and then
it would not be difficult.
I think that'd be cool, man, because that's a really cool, like, so many of this. And you go back to like the animated series, right? Like Mr. Freeze, Harley Quinn. A lot of these like foundational Batman legacy are from like these this incredible animated series.
That's where they were really cultivated into culture, you know, like.
And so you have this Clayface person. I think that'd be a really cool. Maybe he's also a client of Hugo Strange.
See, I think Clayface would be great because I don't really want to see like Victor Zsasz, but like have Clayface as kind of like
he could be a big donor for the because he's an actor and like
the most famous is. The most famous version is the Matt Hagen actor version.
Make him a big donor for the governor. Make him like with Bruce Wayne. Like build that up, and then you know have some inciting incident where maybe he gets disfigured and he resorts to some crazy bio like makeup that can fix him because he has to keep appearances up, and all of a sudden it's like addictive and it like deforms him more, and then he like
that would be neat where. The makeup itself is what's disfiguring him.
Yeah.
So the more he's using it, the more it's actually disfiguring him.
Yeah. And then even the Penguin's like, hey, I'm not getting that, right? Like the Penguin obviously would need it because he's, but like I could just see like.
There's a lot of interesting things. Now, do you think you could find a way to do like a Tommy Elliott story? Because I feel like Hush is such an interesting storyline.
I love Hush.
And the thing about Hush is you have Hush the person, which is Tommy Elliott, but then you have Hush the mastermind, which is the Riddler. You know, so it's like, and we've had Riddler as a mastermind, but could you imagine doing something like a Hush storyline?
Yeah. So
where the Riddler's orchestrating it from inside Arkham.
Well, no, I think because we have like a Batman movie outlined.
Yeah,
it's called Batman Legacy, where there's a Hugo Strange who thinks he has Batman figured out.
We did that back in 2013.
But
12,
he like goes on like air, somehow eventually goes on like TV to say that Bruce Wayne's Batman because he has Batman on TV. But then Thomas Elliott shows up as Bruce Wayne because of his like tormented, like his whole backstory, in which anyway, so I hope they don't combine the Riddler as Hush, because I think Thomas Elliott's backstory is incredible, and I think it'd make for an awesome movie. I don't think he's mainstream enough.
That's why I feel like if you could do him as a character, I feel like that's the one issue with doing a Batman film, is you always want to have the big villains. And you know, like Batman Begins was sold on Batman and his origin.
Yeah.
And we had Scarecrow and Ra's al Ghul as villains.
Yeah.
But then the sequels are sold so much on who the big bad is.
Yeah.
So,
dude, I've talked myself into a Clayface sequel.
I'm
here for it.
I'm not against it. You know, I think Clayface would be a very interesting addition.
The Penguin's got to give him the name Clayface. Like, it's not going to be Batman. It's got to be like somehow they talk about what he can get on the street. Like maybe he runs out of the makeup and he's like, "Hey, what do you hear?" Maybe it's like that.
Well, they call him like, remember like you have the drug that drops?
Yeah.
Drop heads. So he's like, "Well, you like some sort of Clayface?"
Yeah.
You know, like,
what do I use as a Clayface? But yeah, maybe that drug is in like the makeup, and that's what like
it all could work. I mean,
yeah.
It's, you know, and the one thing I will say,
it gives him strength, and then you have Bane. Make Clayface Bane. I don't want to see Bane on screen anymore.
I need a break from Bane, and if they do bring back Bane, I need like just give me comic accurate Bane.
Yeah. They haven't had a Poison Ivy on screen either since the 90s.
Yeah.
So might be time, trying to find a way to maybe she could be the third movie.
I think Matt Reeves can make Poison Ivy feel grounded and real.
The whole controlling the plants would be hard. I think like the poison lipstick or all that, like the poison makeup again, right? It's all about makeup. All comes back to Bruce Wayne's eyeliner. Yep. So all of it, maybe he gets like.
What the one thing I do like, since
he goes to buy eyeliner and he gets under her spell.
Since James Gunn announced that they're doing the Batman Brave and the Bold film, I'm okay with the idea of the Batman being a little bit darker. You know what I'm saying? And exploring more of these adult themes and characters. Because then I have this other Batman film that'll be more for my kids to enjoy.
Yeah, so The Brave and the Bold, is that a cartoon?
I mean, there's a cartoon, but they're doing that's what they're naming the live action.
So there's going to be another live action Batman.
There's going to be two. There's going to be Matt Reeves' Batman universe all by itself.
Okay.
Separate, and then the continued new DC.
I feel like we've talked about this.
Yeah.
And that's about the Brave and the Bold. That's with like Robin and how Robin.
It's going to have Damian Robin in it, and that's all we know.
Interesting.
But I've always said like I'm okay with there being like I hate saying family friendly because that's not what I mean, but like the more child accessible Batman, because Batman's a character that children love.
Yeah.
And then there being like this, the Batman, where it's darker, grittier, and can be more for adults. Because kids love, like you can do all the animation you want. Yeah. The kids love seeing live action Batman.
Yeah.
There's a thrill to it.
Yeah. When is the Batman 2 scheduled for release? Do you know?
October of 25.
So, almost 2.5 years from now. Yeah, man. We'll see. I don't know. Matt Reeves hit me up. I know you listen.
It's just fun to, like I said, the last thing I read was they're going to start production on it this fall.
Okay.
They're actually going to start filming it because they're going to film it once they get done with the Penguin series. So, before any details get out, it's just kind of fun to, here we are, a year look back, spitballing, kind of like what we want. But I just, my thing is, I want to see Bruce Wayne realize that part of the problem with Gotham, with the whole renewal thing, was they even said no one was watching the renewal fund. Yeah. Like that was supposed to be a Wayne responsibility, and he neglected that. So now he has to take back the city not only as Bruce Wayne, so coming back into the light as himself, and coming into that realization that I have to be both Bruce Wayne and Batman.
Yeah.
If I'm going to do this, I can't just be Batman. And maybe we'll get a Lucius Fox.
Yeah, there's Batman world is like just rich with incredible cast and supporting cast, and I'm excited to see. I left the theater and I said the same thing about Man of Steel. I'm going to like the sequel better than the first one. Like, I was more excited for Man of Steel 2, which
kind of never really happened.
And I'm going to be more excited for the Batman 2, Rise of Clayface. When it drops. But I'm just along for the ride, man. Until Matt Reeves calls and says, "Hey, let's come to my whiteboard meeting." I'll be there.
I'm in. Did you ever see Super Pets?
No.
There's the scene in the end of Super Pets where Batman works alone, except for Robin and Alfred. And then he just starts he starts listing, and then as it comes back, and he's like, whoever Morgan Freeman played in that movie, and keeps going about all the people that Batman supposedly works alone, but has probably more sidekicks and partners than any character in comics.
Yeah.
So, but all right, man. We'll wrap this up. It's nice touching base. Just talking, and we'll, as things develop. But look forward to Chase and I discussion. We have some big news coming from Press Play podcast.
Yeah.
A new show that's coming. It's gonna be exciting. Just keep listening, and you'll hear it soon.
Thanks, Ty. It's good seeing you, man.
We're going to press pause and hear a few words from our other podcasts on Press Play Podcast Network.
Hello, Brooks here with the Books with Brooks monthly book club podcast. Here's how Books with Brooks works. We read one book a month, and then we talk about it. Classics like Stephen King's The Shining, debut novels like We Are the Brennans by Tracy Lang, and tons of other compelling, life-changing stories, one book and 1 month at a time. So come read along with us, and then listen in.
If you are like Tyler and James and can't get enough super talk, check out these other podcasts. Digging for Kryptonite, Supergirl Radio, The Last Sons of Krypton, the Superboy Legacy Podcast, All-Star Superfans, Superman the Animated Podcast, The Aspiring Kryptonians, Always Hold On to Smallville, The Geek of Steel, and Truth, Justice, and Hope.
Remember to check out Krypton Report on all social media platforms. Go to linktree.com/Krypton Report. You find all of our report.
This is Dan Jurgens, and if you want to have a good time, keep listening to the Krypton Report.
Welcome to this second half of Catching Up with the Nerds. This time, I have our good friend Kelly Guentner of the Phoenix Sisters cosplay. You know her from previous episodes and the special fundraising that I've been working on. So, welcome, Kelly.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. It's been a while. We've talked. This is audio, but I am looking at Kelly's awesomeness behind her. I see an amazing Green Arrow and Black Canary artwork behind her. It's exciting.
Yep.
I also see a short box of comics, and I have that same short box I got for Christmas. And what's hilarious, I pointed out to James on our last podcast, is so I got like 3 or 4 new short boxes for Christmas and my birthday, but at the same time, I'm not buying as many comics anymore because I signed up for the Ultra app. So now I have 3 empty short boxes just chilling that are slowly gonna be built up over long periods of time. So it's just kind of funny how that works out.
I have to reorganize my short boxes. That's one of my many organization projects that I'm working on this year. First, though, is organizing my cosplay stuff because it's chaos, and I got new shelves, and they're huge, and I've got unicorn bins because I'm an adult.
That's awesome. Sayla would love unicorn bins. Sayla loves anything unicorn. Sayla's birthday is coming up here in April. And I asked her what kind of birthday she wants, and I was fully expecting her to be like My Little Pony, But no, she wants the Flash. So she wants a Flash-themed birthday. I was like, oh, cool. So last night we took the kids to see Shazam, Fury of the Gods. And we always play this game before the movie called Guess the Trailers. Mm-hmm. And we each like pick one kind of trailer, and Sayla's was like the Flash. And when the trailer started, like I tried to find a Shazam shirt for her, right? But I couldn't get one in time, like small enough at a reasonable price. Right. So she wore her Flash t-shirt, and then she wore my Shazam socks, so that she had like she was repping this. But when the Flash trailer started, she stood up and opened her jacket to show her Flash t-shirt, and she was like looking around like this, and I was like, "That's my girl." So it was adorable.
You're doing something right. You're doing a lot of things right, but you're definitely parenting right.
Oh, I try. But the other great was in the first time in the movie. This is not a spoiler, people. It was in the trailer when the kids are walking outside together and they yell Shazam. Sayla stood up and was like, "Shazam!" Like, I love taking her to the movies, and like I always I find the showings sometimes that aren't as busy, and I have a certain set of seats that I always pick. They're on the left side, but they're the raised seats, but they're right above the entranceway. So there's 4 seats by themselves to the side and nobody in front of us. So I can put Sayla in the corner up against the wall, and there's usually no one behind us. So if she moves around, we're not bothering anybody. So.
Oh, that's smart.
But
so
yeah,
was the movie good?
Oh, it was awesome. If you like the first one, you'll love the second one. Just for the characters, the heart, and this is not spoiler. There are 2 post-credit scenes. So you need to check them both out. And I love the first one. I rank it pretty high in my DC rankings, just because it's very easy to just keep rewatching and just always brings a smile to my face, no matter how many times. No matter how many times I see it. And the other thing, and this, like I said, not spoilery, just is the kids did that the S in Shazam is for Wisdom of Solomon. So every time they were like Solomon, he's like, "That's my name!" Like, and Sayla's like, "They're saying your name. They're saying your name." And he's like, so it was just kind of cool because he totally forgot that. But it was a good time and everything. So, but how have you been? Like, we haven't chatted. I mean, we chat, but like we haven't podcasted in a while. But we just had back in January, right? January, yes. Mm-hmm. We concluded our 3rd year together, being part of the fundraiser.
Yep.
I feel like. So
yeah. It's our 3rd multiverse fundraiser, but the first 2 were like 6 months apart.
Yeah. Okay. So we've been doing it for at least I've been a part of almost 2 years. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you have been a crucial part. You are a very good interviewer. You're also a very good panel host. I really appreciate having you on the team. So thank you for that. This year was really good. We had amazing celebrities. Our panels were just top notch. Like, it really is a convention you can attend from your couch. And I mean, we even had the celebrities complimenting our panels, our fan-run panels. So
I feel like each year we're getting more and more professional, building up a better system, a better way of doing things. Like you said, the guests. And what's fun is, it is streamed live on YouTube and through one continual like feed. And what's great is I've done it before where I've watched on my computer when I've interacted, but if there was like a panel I didn't know about, I turned it on YouTube like in my bedroom while I was folding laundry and stuff. So I still got to watch and, interviews. I'm trying to remember who was it. It was you. I think it was you, Willow, and somebody else interviewing somebody last year. I can't remember. It all runs together after a while. And I was just watching as I was folding laundry, like, that's cool. That's cool. But yeah, it's always so many good. And it's always for a good cause. We always find a good cause for why we raise money, and that's the core of what we do. It's a way of giving back, and in the process, getting to enjoy meeting and talking with celebrities and people that we want to talk to and have a connection with. So
I agree. Yeah, this year was the John Ritter Foundation for Aortic Health. And first of all, I learned a lot about aortic health.
Yep, me too.
Which was great, and also great to help educate, because that's part of what the John Ritter Foundation is about. And also, just we did raise a lot of money, which, we raised almost $2,000, I believe. I would have to double check that, but which is pretty good considering this is only our third year doing this, and pretty exciting. So yeah, like you said, every time we do this, we get better and more professional and more polished, and I'm super proud of our team.
All right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to speculate a little bit. Who is a dream guest that you'd like to have on?
Oh, Henry Cavill.
Yeah, I could see that.
If you're out there, Henry, call me.
I would say, yeah, that would be awesome. Let's see. I would love, I'll say this. I would love to talk more with Brandon Routh. Yeah, like, I would love Brandon Routh to be on there, because I got to meet him this past September, and it was really quick. And I said one thing to him that I could genuinely tell sparked an interest in him that I would have liked to have been able to talk more about with him. It was about how Superman Returns, if you like the movie or whatever, we won't have to get that, but like, I needed that Superman at that time in my life, and how much his portrayal affected me. Mm-hmm. And that's why, like, when, like, a lot of times when I like to use the Superman symbol in promos and stuff, I choose that one because it's a personal symbol that really affected me at a time in my life where I needed it. And I would have liked to have been able to, like, just talk with him more about it and everything, because, I think it means a lot to him because of how things panned out with him and the role. So he's one. Tim Daly, because that would then round out getting to talk to my top 3 favorite Superman voices, because you and I have done George Newbern.
And he was great.
Yes, it was. And I did Jason J. Lewis twice. And what's ironic is I'm listening to an audiobook right now, just reinforcing different mental pathways of screenwriting. And the book is narrated by George Newbern. So I feel like I'm getting a lecture on screenwriting from Superman himself. That's what I picture in my head as I'm listening to this book. As I picture Superman, like, talking to me like I'm in the Hall of Justice, and I'm sitting there and he's like having a conversation with me. Like, Tyler, listen to this. And I'm like, yes, sir. So,
yeah. And because when we talked to George Newbern, that was the bulk of what the work he's doing now is audiobook narration.
Yeah. And he talked about how it's something he learned how to record and edit and do from home. And it's been a big thing, because that time was like, that was like, what, 2021 when we did that. Mm-hmm. It was right before I moved, because I remember our house was all disheveled and everything. So it was interesting. Yeah, good times. Such good times. Let's see here. So what have you been into? Like, I know, like, I of course, I'm a Patreon follower of your cosplay. So I see when you put up new photos, and they're always awesome. You guys do an amazing job with your costumes, and just, you always look like you're having fun. And I think that's what I really appreciate about your cosplay, is there's a genuine, just energy of fun that resonates. So just tell us about what's going on there. Definitely plug everything for people who don't know. And, what's new? Like, what are you looking into for this year? Because it's still early enough in the year to talk about what your 2023 plans are.
Yeah, I've got some really fun plans. So, first of all, this year I am celebrating 15 years of being a cosplayer, which it's crazy to me. It's crazy that I took a wrong turn and ended up in Metropolis, and basically, the short version, was walking down the street during the festival, saw someone in costume, was like, I want to do that. And now 15 years later, I'm still doing that. It's wild. But
it is weird how things work out. Like, I don't know if I've ever told you this story. Hold on, I'll tell you this just because you said that. I was listening to a podcast, it was at the time when I first started listening to podcasts and I was trying to find anything. And they mentioned that a friend of theirs was looking to start a Gotham-based podcast or a podcast to message them. And I messaged that person. And it was Phil, who I started podcasting with back when I did Gotham and everything.
Oh.
But to this day, I don't remember the podcast. But what's weird is I'm not sure that the person they mentioned on the podcast was really Phil, or if it was divine intervention that guided me to meet Phil. It was a very interesting, because when I brought it up to him, he's like, I don't know who that would have been, because it wasn't a Southgate podcast. And I tried to go back and find that podcast that I was listening to. And I don't even think those people are around anymore, because it's just one of those really weird kind of like, I got to this place and I'm not really sure if how I got there was what I was going for, but it kind of curved me into it. So it's just one of those like, you know, like divine, I call it just divine intervention, you know, and just like you took a wrong turn and look where you ended up.
Providence.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's great. It's beautiful. It's one of the beautiful things about life. And yeah, so 15 years. So in a week, a little under 2 weeks, I'm going to see 2E2 with Crayley.
Oh.
And
We'll be looking for that. We'll be sharing your social
got a lot
posts.
of plans. So first of all, I'm going to be so I'm a part of this group called Chicagoland Cosplay Creations, and we basically get together and do big group photo shoots. It's super fun. The group is just filled with creative people. It's I just joined it this past year, and we did an Avengers versus X-Men photo shoot, and then we did a Moon Knight, and then also I wore my Evie from the Mummy photo shoot at an actual Tutankhamun exhibit, like kind of art exhibit.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of like if you've ever been to the Inside Van Gogh exhibit, it was similar to that, where they're like flashing pictures on the walls. I felt bad for a photographer because the lighting of that was really stressful for him because it's dark inside. But so we've done some fun photo shoots. So we're gonna have a booth with cosplay backdrops, and we're gonna have a different theme each day. So I'm gonna be working the booth a few hours on Saturday, a few hours on Sunday, and then I'm also gonna be doing story time with League of Enchantment. Sorry, trying to keep all my things that I'm involved in straight. So League of Enchantment is a charity group that I recently joined.
That's exciting. Sounds like you're going to have a very exciting 2023.
Yeah, it's busy. So I'll be Batgirl for their story time, and then Crayley and I are going to be I'll be doing my Evie again, and Crayley will be doing her gender swapped Rick O'Connell.
That's cool.
And
okay. Speaking of Rick O'Connell.
Yes.
What is the actor's name that plays Rick O'Connell?
Brendan Fraser.
Yeah, why did, when I just saw a thing, he was like, my name is Brendan Fraser, like Razor. He's like, it's always been mispronounced. Why was the glass just shattered? I was like, I've been saying his name wrong all of these years.
Yeah, a lot of people pronounce it Fraser.
Yeah. And that's how I heard and just kind of stuck, and I've never really double checked. And Jania goes, it's Fraser. And she shows me the little clip of him talking, and I was like, holy crap, it is. It's just one of those things.
This is a Mandela effect thing.
Right. And that's what I was like, if there's anything that I feel like besides the Berenstein Bear thing, if there's any Mandela effect thing, because I found people who have proof of tapes and stuffed plush toys of Berenstein Bears with both spellings.
The Berenstein Bears thing breaks my brain, y'all.
Yes.
Okay.
So I was like, brain. We were actually about to watch the first two Mummy films with the kids, because I was like, you guys are old enough now. You'll enjoy them for what they are. and everything. So we are going to watch those with the kids sometime soon because they
to hear
are
what they think.
awesome.
Those are just perfect films.
Now,
after C2E2, oh, go ahead.
What I was going to say, what X-Men did you dress up as for your X-Men vs. Avengers?
Rogue.
I figured that's what it was, but I was going to let you tell, because maybe you did your Phoenix, or Emma Frost, or some of the ones that you guys have done. But Rogue, definitely, it's a good one.
Yeah, I have a few. I'm working on a Pirate Kitty Pryde. If you have not seen Pirate Kitty Pryde, you need to look that up because that is a thing in comics, and I'm in love with it.
So I was going to ask you, what are some new costumes that you're working on for this year?
So just finished Hot Girl entirely.
Ooh.
Upgrading Batgirl. Let's see. Those are the two big ones. And then, so it's not costumes, but to celebrate my 15 years of cosplay, I am planning 2 really ambitious group photo shoots. So we're going to do a Gotham character photo shoot, and I'm going to be Black Canary. So I'm going to try to upgrade one of my Black Canary costumes. But the Gotham based photo shoot, or the Gotham character photo shoot, is going to be in Chicago in some of the shooting locations for the Dark Knight trilogy.
Oh, there you go. That's awesome.
It's really awesome. Really, yeah. Our group keeps getting bigger. It's huge. So it's gonna be so fun. And then we're gonna do the next. We're making a weekend of it. So then the next day is gonna be a Supernatural photo shoot in a wooded nature reserve area, the same place I did my Lara Croft shoot at. So it has it has an old building that's kind of broken down, that's really cool looking. It has woods. It's just awesome. We're gonna get fake blood. So I'll be Ellen from Supernatural.
That was gonna be my question: is who you're gonna be? You'd be a great Ellen. I totally see that. Oh, you'd be a great Ellen. At one point in time, James, as anyone listens, James and I did start. We were going to do a monthly Supernatural podcast, and we've done 1 episode so far, thanks to our track record. Almost now is 1 a year, which is not what we wanted to do. It's just overloaded with life, and I hope to over the summer really kind of catch that back up. Kelly is one of the people that we are definitely going to have on the show at some point to talk Supernatural. Did you watch any of the Winchesters?
I have not.
I watched the pilot, Janine and I did, and I was like, the only way this show works is this is an alternate Earth. And then I decided,
what they've established.
I was like, they already established there's a multiverse for Supernatural. So I'm like, this works only at that. And I was like, you know what? I'll wait for this to drop on HBO and I'll watch it, because I just couldn't keep up with it. And there's things about it I was just like, And I'm like, all the other spin-offs you could have done, you chose this because it's probably a reboot in its own way. I'm seeing if it's on HBO right now.
I honestly, the Supernatural spinoff that I would have wanted, going back to Ellen, is I would have loved to see Ellen and Joe hunting together with Ash.
Yeah. It's called the Roadhouse.
Exactly. See the hunters in and out of the Roadhouse. Maybe see some episodes with their side adventures. That would have been the perfect spinoff. Also, the backdoor spinoff that they did with
the Wayward Sisters.
Wayward Sisters. I was trying to think of that. That was actually good. That would have been good.
It would have been. It would have been. The other ones they tried to do, the Blood Ties, that would have been horrible. But the thing about the Roadhouse that would have been cool is because back when we had all these hunters we knew before some of them died, like Garth and what was Sterling K. Brown's character? You could have them pop in and out as they cross, through the roadhouse, and everything would have been really cool to see. But that would have been a great, great series. So Kelly is cosplaying in Chicago as Black Canary and will be also Supernatural. Is there anything cooler, people? Is there? No, there's not. There's not.
Oh yeah, I just remembered another thing I'm working on. So, Crayley and I are going to be guests at SoCon again this year. So that's in Central Illinois. And our friend
When is that?
Emily at SoCon, CIL Con.
But when is it?
Oh, let me double check the date on that.
Let's get some dates.
I believe it's September. Well, that's 2023. It is early September. I know that.
Okay. See, that's good. That's good. We need to get people to come visit you.
Yeah. Okay. September 15th through 16th at Village Square Mall in Effingham, Illinois. And it is a free convention.
Oh.
Which is awesome. Yeah. And one of the celebrity guests that's already confirmed is Santiago Cirillo from The Walking Dead, who is I befriended him last year. He is the nicest human on the planet. He's so nice. Just super kind. Adore him. But so for that, our friend Emily is who's a Victory Born cosplay, if you want to look her up on Instagram. She is the other cosplay guest. So she is going to be doing a Wednesday Addams and Raven from Teen Titans mashup. And to go with her, I'm going to be doing a Morticia and Zatanna mashup. And then Creeley is going to mash up. Is it Gwen that's Wednesday's roommate from the series?
Yeah.
Gwen and Starfire.
It is Gwen, right? I know who you're talking about, the roommate. I love how
werewolf.
Wednesday the show was cool, but it was produced by Alan Miles, who did Smallville. And once I knew that, I was like, oh, I totally see the parallels. I was like,
I know it.
And all of a sudden, they made the Addams Family supernatural based, and I was like watching it with Jania, like the Addams Family were just regular people who were creepy and kooky. They weren't supernatural based, and now they're trying to put them supernatural, and I'm like, oh well.
It was an interesting choice. It worked for the show, though. I really liked the show Wednesday as its own thing.
I just hate that Christina Ricci was bad. It really bummed me out.
Spoilers, but yes. I know, I was so bummed out because I loved her character. It's been out long enough, yeah.
Yeah, it's not like we're one of those people, we just watched it yesterday and it just dropped yesterday and we're like, spoilers! It's been out since November. We're good.
Yeah. And Gwendolyn Christie's character,
oh, I know. She was great. She was
so great, and it gutted me. I hope they find a way to bring her back somehow, because, supernatural.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Does anyone need to stay dead? No, there's a way. We'll find a way.
Mm-hmm. But it was very strange that they gave them supernatural powers when they didn't need to. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with you. To me, it would have been interesting if she had went to this alternative school and it was very similar, but then they discovered there was like real supernatural elements, and it was kind of like they were starting to learn about it, and it wasn't like it was so already known and in your face.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. So Kelly, not only for being the amazing cosplayer she is, everybody, she's also an author. And I have one of her books that I'm reading. I'm just really slow at reading because I'm really behind on reading. Like I have a stack of like 4 books I'm working through, and I just can't get through because I have a lot of like had a lot of textbooks and reference material I keep reading as I'm working through certain things. So it's hard for me to find time to read like novels, which always kind of bums me out. But how is writing going? Do you have you worked on a new book? Tell them about your book so we can pitch it.
Yes. So my author name, my pen name is Kelly Edwards, and my series is Forces of Nature. First book is Scorcher. Second book is Thin Ice. And writing's going really well. Right now, speaking of not having time to read, audiobooks are a great solution to that. So right now I am running an Indiegogo campaign to fund an audiobook version of my first book, Scorcher, because I also struggle with having time to read. And the way I read most of the time is by multitasking and listening to an audiobook. And also, I just love audiobooks when they have great narrators because that just adds another dimension to the story. And so I have two. Oh, hey, Julia.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to pop in and say hi really quick. How are you?
Nice to see you. Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, honestly. Yeah, I'm actually getting ready to go on for a session, but I heard you guys talking. I wanted to pop in and say hi. So
yes, I'm so glad you did.
Yes, good to see your face. It's been a minute.
It has.
We were talking about how we're going to, over the summer, revive our Supernatural podcast.
Yeah.
And Kelly's definitely one of the guests that was on the list. So
heck yes.
We got to put more focus in that over the summer.
That'll be a lot of fun. So. Absolutely. I'll let you guys get back to it. Sorry.
You're fine. Ladies and gentlemen, the Godfather. She sleeps 20 feet away. It's a little old school reference I like to bring up ridiculously. As Kelly was talking, I pulled up my Hoopla. For anybody who doesn't, she was talking about the importance of audiobooks. I am a big supporter of libraries, and the libraries are amazing with amazing resources, and it bums me that people forget, like, libraries are so much more than just books. They have comic books, they have audiobooks, then they have digital applications to download books and audiobooks digitally, and movies. So I'm just wanted to reinforce just the importance of checking your local library to see what resources they have.
Yes, agreed. And so back to my Indiegogo.
Yes.
So I assume you're going to put the link in the show notes, and also
yes. Oh yeah, I was going to be like, you give us all the links.
So I signed on to Amazing Narrators because there's really two points of view going on with the book. So it only seemed right to have two narrators, and they're on board. Basically, the Indiegogo is so I can pay them what they're worth, because narrators are not cheap, nor should they be. They put in a lot of work. Basically, for every recorded hour, they put in at least 3 hours of work behind the scenes, which is why it is what it costs. But if you go to the Indiegogo link that will be listed in the show notes, you can sign up to contribute, and each contribution level gets different perks. So it's $25 to get the audiobook, which is basically what it would cost if you were to buy an audiobook on Audible or, your audiobook purchasing site of choice. So it's not a bad deal. And you get a whole bunch of other perks at every level. And so this is a passion project for me. So please consider signing up and contributing. And that's my spiel.
Yeah, we definitely will have that in the show notes. Also, I've decided that we need to start a campaign for you to raise money to buy you mannequins to just display all of your costumes on. So you can just walk through like the hall of Kelly's costumes and just like be like, oh, this is, when Kelly did this and this is her costume here. And, like it would be pretty awesome. Just throw that out there. That's what we should do.
It might make my house a little creepy.
But isn't that the fun?
That would be so fun. Especially because my son loves creepy things, so he would be all for the creepy mannequins.
I think you sound like you have a really exciting year ahead of you with cosplay.
Yeah.
So what other nerd things have you been rocking out to? Like we talked a little bit, like what have you been watching? What have you been reading that's kind of just in comics and everything that's just kind of really got your attention or really just kind of like made you excited?
So I recently read the Nightwolf and the Snowpaw series. They're kind of interconnected by Rob Multari. He participated, or he teamed up with us at Cosplay Cafe to do a costume contest. So I kind of read them as homework, but they're really good. So the Nightwolf series especially is kind of like Smallville and Buffy thrown in a blender. It's great. The artwork is great. And then Snowpaw takes place in I want to say medieval times in Scotland, but it centers around a character that also shows up in the Nightwolf series. And the Snowpaw series is really, really great. I kind of like the Snowpaw series even better than the Nightwolf series, but they're both fantastic. If you like werewolves, if you like vampires, you like supernatural elements.
I'm slowly roasting my hand.
Yep.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it is up your alley. I'm telling you.
You gotta send me that link so I can get that.
And then let's see what else. I have been rewatching Star Trek Voyager because so like going way back because I'm going to be cosplaying as Janeway on Sunday at C2E2. So doing my homework, and it's been. Let's see. I haven't watched Voyager since I was a child.
Voyager was the one Star Trek series I really did not really watch any of.
Really?
It just because I'm pretty sure it was on that UPN Paramount Network type thing back when like you had one channel but it hosted UPN and it hosted like WB, and sometimes it just you didn't know when things were coming on. And before the CW merger and all that, and then of course now there's Paramount Plus where all the Star Trek stuff is. So it was the one series that just kind of got lost in the shuffle, for me. So
I will say a lot of the series still holds up today. It's not one of those series that you'll go back and watch from the 90s where you're like, this isn't that great. No, it's still really good. My husband and I are really enjoying it. I'm feeling ready to portray Janeway.
I'm trying to remember. I think back in like 2009, we had rewatched. Me and my buddy Devin watched Star Trek: First Contact, and I think Insurrection, the movies, and both of those felt like they held up pretty well from when they were made. Compared to some of them where you're like you said, you're just like doesn't
that can go back in the vault.
Yeah, like that'll just stay back in my memory as a child where I was enjoying it. So that's cool.
I feel like Star Trek
exciting.
Is timeless.
What'd you say?
You feel like Star Trek is timeless.
It is in a lot of ways. It very much is because it deals with a time period that doesn't exist. It's far enough in the future, but they're not trying to make it kind of relevant. Like anytime they set something and you can pinpoint like there's the whole jokes that Back to the Future Part 2 now exists in like the future past. But when you set something at a time period or another world where you can kind of craft it to be this thing, it works well. Especially since a lot of Star Trek, is just on board a ship in space compared to being on Earth. It really helps kind of give it a classicness.
I agree. And it just has ideals that are still ahead of its time and characters that are fully realized. They don't call the writers don't phone it in, the actors don't phone it in. They really dig deep for those characters. There aren't characters that are just stereotypes or just there to fill a quota.
Mm-hmm.
So I do love Star Trek. I love Star
Have you
Trek
watched?
and Star Wars. That is legal, despite what some fans
Yes,
might tell you.
it is. You can do both. One's more sci-fi fantasy, and one's more sci fiction, science fiction.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
it's cool. Did you watch? What of the new Star Treks have you watched?
None yet. I'm so behind in my TV watching.
Oh,
What about
I
you?
binged Picard season 1, like while season 2 was going on, and I really liked it, but I just needed to take a break. But I really enjoyed Star Trek. Is it Brave New World, the one with Captain Pike? I watched that one, and I really enjoyed that one because I like the look of the old classic style, but like in a new polish. If you know, so I enjoyed that one quite a bit.
I will definitely be moving on to those once we finish our Voyager rewatch.
I thought about doing a massive Star Trek rewatch, and then I thought, maybe I'll just like find like greatest episodes of each series and watch kind of thing, because that would be a massive undertaking. Maybe if I could find someone to partner with or something, like my one friend we were going to do a Doctor Who kind of deep dive rewatch thing, but then he just kept watching it so much without me that it was just like, because I like Doctor Who, but I just can't get like obsessively interested in it. Like, I like it, I can watch an episode, but I'm not compelled to be like a Whovian. Like, I'm not like, oh, I need to see this, I need to watch this, I need to
That's how I
dive
feel
deeper.
too. And some
Like,
episodes are better than others for Doctor Who.
yeah, like they're so I mean I would like to watch more of it, but just not. I don't want to do it by myself.
I feel that.
So, but we're just catching up with Kel. That's what I'm going to call this segment. It should become a monthly segment. Catching up with Kel.
I like
It'll
it.
be funny. Yeah.
It's catchy.
So,
Pun intended.
as we kind of wrap up here shortly, because we could go on forever, and we don't want to bore people. Anything that you could give feedback wise to people who are wanting to get started on cosplay, like just where to go, what to look into, maybe resources to help really start. And with that question, I meant to ask you this because I don't know if I ever asked you this. I might have. What was the first cosplay costume you did? I think I asked you, but let's just bring it back again.
First cosplay costume was Black Canary. And it was the very first time was literally saw people in costume and ran to the mall and put it together real quick, and it was a swimsuit, fishnets, and a Hannah Montana wig. 15 years ago, people.
I mean, that's great because Black Canary is not a difficult cosplay. My personal favorite cosplay is cosplaying Superman in the DCU YOU comics, which was at the end of the New 52 when he was depowered and all he wore was jeans and a t-shirt. Yes. Because that's just my everyday apparel, so I could just be like, I'm cosplaying. It was the best.
You're like, boom, cosplay. Same thing with the Connor Kent Superboy.
Yeah, I'm just like, cosplay. Yeah, Connor Kent Superboy is the other second. You just need the black Superman shirt with the red, symbol and jeans. Done.
Yep.
Makes you feel powerful. Yeah. But I could definitely see, like you always have done, like all the pictures I've seen, you've done great Black Canaries. So I look forward to whatever your new updated edition is. And then back to my other question about people starting cosplay.
Oh, yes. So getting started. So I would say choose a character that you relate to. Don't worry about whether or not you look like the character, whether or not you're the right age. gender, size, whatever. Choose a character that you relate to, and then start looking up tutorials. The great thing about cosplay nowadays is that people have put tutorials on YouTube for pretty much everything. And there's a wealth of knowledge out there. It's wonderful. There's a lot of cosplayers. And if you can't find a tutorial, but you find a cosplayer that's done something and you want to know how they've done it, send them a message. A lot of cosplayers are willing to share their knowledge. And if they're not someone you really want to follow or who's worth knowing anyways.
True. I can agree with that. I've talked to different people who've been very kind of snobs when I've just wanted to interview them and talk to them about cosplaying, and they've been very snobby about it. And it's like, it should be something fun that you share with people and not
right.
Like, you're not an elitist. So, all right. Well, thanks for joining us today.
It's literally in the word cosplay.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's that line of you want to do it seriously and you take it seriously, but at the same time, there's people who do like professional cosplay. And I feel like that's when it's not cosplay anymore. That's just like when it's modeling. And that's like a whole different mindset compared to cosplay. Because cosplay is something fun that you do and you dress up for and you enjoy it. It's more of a hobby. But when you start becoming like the professional cosplayer, then you're just modeling. And it's just, to me, it's a different mindset of how you approach the craft.
And if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But you still don't have to be a jerk about it. You can be
you still want to be a good
then you
person.
have to be professional.
Yeah. Well, anything else you want to plug here, Kel, before we break off here?
So definitely check out SoCon, check out my Indiegogo, check out Cosplay Cafe. We're every first and third Friday of the month. And yeah, that's basically what I've got going.
Awesome. We are grateful to have you. Thank you. And my phone keeps going off. I was making sure it was nothing important. Sayla hasn't been feeling the best, and she didn't go to school the other day. Yesterday she went, but I'm always worried now. Solomon's best friend's sick, so I have that in the back of my head, like that I might be getting a message or a call from the school or something. Just one of those like parent intuitions, like. But all of Kelly's references that she mentioned today will be in the show notes. Please follow her cosplay, join the Patreon. Just it's really fun. Help support. Materials cost money. And it's nice to just kind of give back to your friends. I look at it like I'm giving to my friend who needs help. So it's not much, but it's, it does, every little bit does help. So we always try to help each other as much as we can.
Yes, thank you. Well, thank you for having me.
Anytime. You could call me up and be like, hey, I want to do this. I'm like, all right, let's do it. That's pretty much how we roll. So.
I appreciate you.
Look up in the sky.
We just want to say, if you've enjoyed this podcast, please check out other podcasts on the Press Play Podcast Network. $1 a month, you'll get extra special content that you don't get on the main show, like movie commentaries and whatever else comes out of our mouths. So check it out, patreon.com/Krypton.